listening to the IELTS podcast. Learn from tutors and ex-examiners who are masters of IELTS preparation. Your host, Ben Worthington.
IELTS Essay Improvement. This podcast is going to show you what quality writing is. The questions you can ask yourself is going to give you directions on how to improve your essay and some of the things, some of the components you can look for in your writing if you want to improve it. Right, let's get started. My name is Ben Worthington. You probably know me. Hopefully you've been listening to a few of these episodes, and I'll just share that the main reason for doing these podcasts is just to give students like yourself a bit of a push and a bit of a helping hand, because studying for this exam is not easy. A lot of students have got tremendous pressure. They've got to get, immigration visas, they've got to get into university. They've taken the exam quite a few times. They've got a child, they've got a young kid, baby, and all these pressures, and just going to a normal, boring, unspecialized preparation center isn't going to cut it. You need to be, maybe you just don't have the time, so you've decided to do online learning. That's fine, and this is exactly what I'm here to help you do. All right, so let's get started. What is quality writing? Well, that's an open question. Everybody will have their own opinion, and it's completely irrelevant, because the only thing that matters regarding quality writing in the IELTS exam is the criteria. If you're not fulfilling their criteria, then your writing is not quality. Basically, sounds rather crude. So this is why you absolutely must be aware of these four components. And I won't go into any detail here, there's no point. I've mentioned it before. I'll just mention them, and I strongly recommend you go and get the PDF, download that, and have a good look, and just review all of the points and look at your writing at the same time and try and pick out elements. For example, in your academic task 1, are you grouping information together? Have you grouped any information together? Okay, so let's just quickly go. Cohesion and coherence. Logical flow, coherent ideas. Does it all string together, or is it a bunch of random thoughts, like a big goulash, a big soup with all these crazy ingredients? Task response. Double, triple, quadruple check before you start writing. Check your plan. Do you have body paragraphs designated to different parts of the question? If there's a few parts of the question, maybe you want a body paragraph for each part. Are you fulfilling what they're asking for? Lexical resource, your vocabulary. Okay, the collocations you might be using, your word choice. Are you going to be using words like good and bad, or are you going to be using words like significant and detrimental? You see, these are the small things that IELTS will consider quality writing, and this is what you're getting graded against. So follow the directions. They've put it all out crystal clear on a piece of paper or a PDF, and you just need to follow it and make sure you are playing their game, basically. Last one, grammatical range and accuracy. That's quite straightforward. Syntax, use of articles, singular, plural, agreement, all of that. Is it basically logical? Is it an easy to understand sentence? Not easy to understand, it's just grammatically correct. Now, I want to mention a quote that's really related to this, and if this was an essay, this would be maybe a supporting sentence. Okay, so we've got a direction regarding the IELTS with writing tasks. We've got a map We know where we're going to go and what needs to be done. So a lack of direction is not the problem. Okay, so we've got the direction. That's easy. Okay, it's in front of us. We just need to follow it, and we need to work through it. So the quote is, a lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We've all got 24 hours in the day. So we've all got 24 hours of the day. We've all got the same amount of time. And time's not the issue here. It's the direction. And what direction are you going in preparing for your IELTS exam? Okay, because we've got the direction, we've got the route easily available in a PDF. So have a look at that. Now, one last thing regarding to what is quality writing. And this is specifically highly relevant to the IELTS exam. Because, like I said before, everyone's got their own version or interpretation of what is high quality writing. And in an IELTS exam, this is a language exam, so the quality of what they would consider high quality writing is something that is effectively communicated. Okay, and this is a concept that's difficult to grasp for some students. Okay, because a lot of students might want to go for a very highly a highly advanced and sophisticated and intelligent answer when it's not really necessary. The quality of the answer is not the issue here. The quality of the argument is not the issue. It's the quality of communication. So if we're talking about high quality writing and what is the criteria in IELTS, the intelligence of the argument is nothing. It's in there in the argument is relevant, but what's much more important is the quality that it's communicated. Okay, so that's a very important tip there. Hopefully you're writing these down. So moving on to the next point. Now we've written our essay, we put our pen on the paper and we're looking at it. What are we going to look for? Well, obviously we're going to look for perhaps spelling mistakes, grammar errors, and that's kind of the basics. Let's take it to the next level. Let's have a look at the style of the writing. Are we using transition words? Are the paragraphs coherent? Is it written in an academic style? How do we know if it's written in an academic style? Well, did we use academic phrases, or does it sound like spoken English? Yep. Is it clear? Do you understand what you've written? Does somebody else understand what you've written, what you're trying to communicate? Are the paragraphs well organized? Okay, can I follow the ideas? Do we have ideas grouped together, or do we have two arguments in favor at the beginning, an argument against in the middle, and then another argument in favor at the end? Okay, because that would be a disaster, basically. So is there sort of like a sensible sequence, a logical progression of your argument? Or do we just start off with an example right from the beginning and then build up the argument, which would probably be a bad idea? Like I've said a million times before, generally we go topic sentence, supporting sentences, and then work through the paragraph, going from general to specific. So we've checked the style, we've checked if it's academic, we've checked if it's clear, we've asked a friend to read it if they understand it, we've checked for spelling, we've checked for grammar. Now, is the main idea there? Does it correspond to task response? Read the question again and check. Did I just go off on one? Did I just take the essay where I wanted to write about something that I wanted to write about? Or is it following a precise structure that I planned at the beginning? Okay, so these are not serious but important points to consider when you're reviewing your essay. Now then, next point I want to say is, if we're keen on in improving our essays, if we're serious about improving our essays, then we're going to get feedback, okay? Because we can check our own essays only so far, but obviously we wrote it thinking it was correct, and so when we review it, we might possibly still think it's correct. So the only way you can solve this issue is getting feedback, okay? And this will help you improve considerably, because you're going to improve the accuracy of your writing. And if your writing is grammatically competent, grammatically solid, then communicating your argument will be much more effective. So what I'm saying here is that even if you've understood the question, even if you've organized your thoughts, and even if you've used some good vocabulary, then the examiner cannot give you points for task response and for cohesion and coherence, because you can't understand the essay if the grammar's bad. You see, they'll just be stumbling through it and be like, well, he might have understood the question. I can't really see what this person's writing. I can't really understand it, so there's no way I'm going to give him points for task response. I've got no clear idea. So this is why working on your grammar is a good way to improve. Also, I'm not going to lie to you, it's probably one of the hardest ways to improve the essay. You see? Now then, so if we're looking for actual writing resources or ways to improve our grammar, well, the easiest way and most logical way would be to get some feedback. And we can get feedback from one of my sites, IELTSwritingtask.net, and there you can submit your essay and I'll give you some feedback. Or you can also find those links on IELTSPodcast.com or sentenceguide.com. And yeah, if that's your main issue, then you just want to be getting corrections, okay? If grammar is your main issue, if you know how to structure and organize your thoughts, then you don't need a course. But if you don't know what to write, if your mind goes blank, or if you're having problems organizing your thoughts, then you might want to have a look at an online course. And you can have a look at sentenceguide.com, and that's a pretty competent course because it comes with a lot of essay corrections with the course, which will help you and push you to improve. So another point I want to mention would be when we are improving the essay. So now we've looked at it for errors, we've looked at it for opportunities to improve. Now I'm going to give you ideas on how to improve it even further. Not questions. I'm going to give you guidance and tips on how to improve it even more so. So what we'll do is we can look at two essays side by side, okay? We can look at your essay and we can look at a Band 9 essay, and we can compare them. How did the Band 9 essay organize the ideas? What vocabulary did they use? What vocabulary did you use? You see? And just go through, compare each idea. What's the word count there? How big was the conclusion? You know, how many collocations were in that Band 9 essay? How many collocations did you use? Okay, so this is one task and it's very valuable. The next one we can have a look at is the organization of the ideas, or the discourse organization. How were they expressed in the Band 9 essay? And then compare that to yours. The next idea I want to suggest would be to reformulate the sentences. So you've got some feedback from a friend or from a teacher, and they're saying, okay, this sentence, kind of get what you're saying. Maybe it's underlined or maybe it's highlighted. So here's an opportunity for you to reformulate it. Put it in put the same idea into different words and different structures. Yeah, I'll give you an example in the next point, because in the next point I'm going to talk about upgrading the vocabulary, which is a point I mentioned before. So I see this a lot when I'm correcting the essays. some students might write, some people in the West believe economic policy to be highly favourable for corporations. Okay? That's alright. Instead of saying some people, we could use numerous economists. Various market analysts believe government policy, blah blah blah. And we go through the essay and just look for opportunities to upgrade it. And we can do this for style as well. Have we introduced parallelism? Is it consistent in like the verb tense? Is it consistent in the mood? Have we used some strong supporting sentences backed up with transition words? Okay, so this is where we move away from just correcting and we're focusing on improving. So there's there's a difference there. And once you're starting on the improvement track and the improvement path, then it becomes a lot more enjoyable, I think. Anyway, now, next area to look at would be, I've already said it. I've gone through all my notes. So that's it. So those are different ways we can improve our IELTS essay. And if you want to take this to the next level, hopefully you've got a book of notes in front of you. Why not listen to the podcast again, make some notes, and then start implementing some of these ideas and advice into your essay. You know, find some sample Band 9 essays, print them out, and then start writing questions to the same start writing essays to the same questions, and then compare them next to each other, you know. And the biggest takeaway I want you to go away with after this podcast is just to take action. Do something, set up a routine, an hour a day copying out essays, 30 minutes a day listening to a podcast, transcribe one whole IELTS listening test a week, whatever. But unless you're taking action, unless you've got some direction, then nothing's going to happen, nothing will change. So have a good day. If you want any more help, go to IELTSPodcast.com, maybe sign up to the email list, email me, or go just take action and get some feedback for your essays at IELTSWritingTask.net. And if you enjoyed the podcast, you can go over to Facebook, leave a message or share the link with your friends if you know anybody else who's having problems with their IELTS. You can also go to iTunes or maybe the Android podcast player and just leave us a review. That would be absolutely fantastic. So have a good day and all the best.